New York's Radio City Music Hall is used to star power, but tonight is something the likes of which we have never seen. President Joe Biden and former President Obama arrived in New York City this afternoon to be joined by another former President Bill Clinton for the most lucrative campaign fundraiser ever, along with a lineup of movie, music, and TV stars to rally the Democratic base and grow Biden's already sizable cash advantage over former President Trump. So the cheapest ticket tonight runs $250, but those willing to shell out at least six figures can have the legendary Annie Leibovitz snap their photos with all three presidents. The campaign has already announced they will raise more than $25 million with this event. As Playbook describes it, this is Biden's New York City money bomb. Joining us now, Robert Gibbs, former White House press secretary under President Obama and an MSNBC political analyst. NBC's Mike Memoli is reporting from outside Radio City. Also with me here on set, Adrian Elrod, a former senior aide on the Biden-Harris campaign who was involved in the planning of tonight's event. So, Adrian, what is the plan?
Well, the plan is, first of all, we have never had President Biden and former Presidents Obama and Clinton all together in an event like this. So it's going to be historic from that nature. Of course, Stephen Colbert is moderating the conversation. We've got a large roster of talent who are going to be there, too, from Lizzo to Cynthia Erivo, Leah Michelle, Ben Platt, Queen Latifah. So it's going to be a really incredible night. But I think what's really important, Chris, is to take a step back and look at the fact that, number one, from high-dollar fundraisers for donors to low-dollar donors, this event is raising a ton of money from every corner of the Democratic Party. So,
because for $25, if you can't be there, but you can
watch it virtually,
online,
no
right?
matter where you are in the country, no matter where you all are in the world, you can watch this for $25. So that's going to be really exciting. But it also just shows the fact that there's so much enthusiasm and excitement in the Democratic Party for President Biden, for Vice President Harris. Rufus Gifford, very dear friend of mine, who's the campaign co-chair for Finance, Michael Platt. There's been some really incredible people on the team who have been working really hard to make this event good. But again, I think you have to look at the historic nature of this and the fact that, every Democratic president who's currently living has endorsed President Biden. How many Republican presidents have endorsed Trump? I mean, it's just a totally different ballgame, and major leaders in the party. So it just shows the unity, the excitement, and enthusiasm that we have for the Democratic ticket.
Okay, Mike. So we saw the picture of the guys arriving early. Is Clinton there as well? And what's going on in there right now?
Well, this is so interesting, Chris, because you've been on this beat before. You know that typically a presidential fundraiser, there are no video cameras, there are no still cameras, just a very small group of reporters. Given the interest, the excitement around this event among Democrats, you'd think that there are going to be cameras inside showing what's going on. Well, only tonight, going to be seeing some still cameras. I bet you, though, you're going to be seeing a lot from the Biden campaign. What is happening right now, the former presidents joining President Biden are spending a lot of time not just preparing for tonight's event, but recording other content. They're going to be recording a podcast, for instance, a number of videos that you'll likely see roll out over the course of the campaign. This really speaks to the strategy on the part of the Biden team to use every bit of leverage they can, including the star power of these three presidents, to reach voters where they are. Yes, we would like to have the access ourselves as news reporters to be able to show this event live tonight. But the campaign feels that the people who are going to decide this election are not necessarily those political junkies watching us right now, frankly. And so they are using new media. They're using a lot of different tools to try to reach voters where they are. They really want to maximize this moment. I'm told, Chris, that as part of the planning for this event, the Clinton, the Biden, the Obama teams were having regular calls, regular discussions. The theme really is how to look back. Obviously, these men are going to want to talk about their work together, what they've done for the American people in the past, but also what President Biden is going to do in the future, and just the significant stakes of this election, a big night in store.
All right, Adrian, give us some inside information that's not out there yet. I mean, are we going to be seeing stuff that's maybe being taped even as we speak that goes all the way to November? How are you going to use the time that you have with these three men together?
Well, I think that's the importance of having this grassroots component that the campaign has put together so that we can make sure that anybody who wants to participate in the country, throughout the world, for $25, if you are a U.S. citizen, you can donate to the campaign. You can come on board.
Conversations that are going to end up in ads? Are you taping things that are going to end up on the website? How much content are you going to get out of tonight?
Well, I don't want to speak on behalf of the campaign because I'm not on the campaign and I have not been working on that. But I think the grassroots enthusiasm, the buzz that's coming out of this, the fact that there is obviously going to be, a lot of media attention that comes out of this too, because this is the first time that President Biden, along with his predecessors, have been together in a room having a conversation. So there's certainly going to be a lot of talk about that. Of course, Chris, this is the end of the first quarter, a very important fundraising quarter for the Biden campaign. And it's important to know that this event's going to raise $25 million. President Biden is clearly going to have another historic fundraising quarter. He has outraised President Trump every quarter so far. And this tonight is surely going to put him over the top in terms of having another strong quarter against President Trump.
So, Robert, Leon Panetta, who, of course, served under Clinton and Obama, and who told the AP there is everything to be gained by Joe Biden standing next to Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, because that picture is worth a hell of a lot in politics. I mean, besides the $25 million, which is a heck of a lot, how does the campaign take this and turn it into messaging that resonates across the country beyond these big donors?
Yeah, Chris, it's a great question. And I think it sounds like they're going to take big advantage of it. I'm reminded of the 2012 Democratic National Convention when Bill Clinton got up to speak on behalf of what President Obama, Vice President Biden, and the administration had accomplished in moving the country out of the economic downturn and getting us back on track to move forward. And what was so powerful about that, one is Bill Clinton is, as you remember, an amazing communicator, but he is able to say things about then President Obama and Vice President Biden that, quite frankly, don't sound as good coming from one of them. Instead of I did, you have this great revered messenger talking about what they did and what the impact was. And that really was a big moment in the campaign. It crystallized what had been done. And I think tonight what you're going to see, and you'll see it sounds like in content that we'll probably see through Election Day, two really good communicators, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, both talking about what Joe Biden's been able to do, lifting up and out what he's accomplished in a way that really starts to drive it in for people. I know it sounds subtle, but boy, I remember distinctly in 2012 what a big moment that was at the convention. You're going to get to see a lot of that now for many, many months.
And tell us a little bit, because you know them so well, the vibe. I mean, look, you've got three men who have held the most powerful job in the world. You don't get there without a pretty big ego or a big...
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.